Hello, 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 and happy Thursday, everyone. It is Thursday on September 26, 2024. I'm very excited to be here with you today. I'm Reverend Joanne Indravari Cologne, the host of the speaker spotlight interview. Got where I was for a moment, and I'm also the founder of Holistic Fitness and Why, and super excited to be here with you to again introduce our day 4 spotlight interview for today, which I will do in just a moment in case you're not aware where you are. Again, this is all about the spotlight interview for the 6 speakers that will be joining forces on October 27th from 10:30 in the morning a.m. Eastern Time till 8 p.m. Eastern Time, sharing their stories about all that they do and why they do what they do. Today is an opportunity for you to get to know the spotlight interview, for you to get to know the speaker on a personal level as opposed to the business aspect and the business background for them. And I'm super excited as my speaker just popped in. I'm going to introduce you and then bring her on so you can all meet who she is. And before I do dive into that, I just want to remind you that to share, like, and comment on today's show. So this way here we know where you are, and ask questions because I'll be more than happy to answering those questions the best that I can. So again, I'm super excited to introduce our spotlight interview, Rose Hope. She is our spiritual muse and mentor. She's an international speaker, 5 times best-selling author, and during the Cosmic Evolution Summit on October 27th, she will be speaking about the Akashic Record readings. So I'm super excited to introduce her and bring her on. Hello, my dear. How are you?
I'm doing so well. I got the blue memo today.
I see that. Yes, I see that. I love that. How are you?
I'm doing so good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I just want to make sure that we are streaming where we need to be streaming. So give me 1 second just to double check that.
Yeah.
Well, we're on Facebook, obviously. I just see that we're there now. And I'm just going to go and check that we are on YouTube. And I know we're on Twitter already. So many platforms that we're sharing under. So more and more people can get to know who you are on a personal level. And I have some fun questions for you.
Goody. I want to hear them.
So I'm going to get to know you as well as get to know who you are on a personal level. Get to know you as well as the audience is going to get to know you. So if anyone is watching from YouTube, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, share it out as well. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. And if you are watching with me right now on Facebook, go ahead and share it out as well. And Rose Hope, you can do the same if you have access to your phone in front of you. Just share out the page, share it to your groups. All right. Sharing it out as well.
The more the merrier. Okay.
Yes. I say the same thing. The more the merrier. All right. So we are all sharing out. Hopefully we'll have some folks hopping in to share with us. So here we go. We're going to dive right into getting to know Rose Hope. Reverend Rose Hope, for that matter.
There we go.
Now, my favorite question, and of course I went snooping on your Facebook page and couldn't find the answer to this. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask her during the interview. Okay. When is your birthday? Month and day? I'm kind of curious to know what sign you are.
Ooh, I'm April 13th. I'm an Aries.
Ooh, and why do you say that like it's the worst thing in the world?
Oh, no, not at all. I love being Aries. I love it.
You got that fire in you, yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, I love that. Indeed. Yes. And because you have that fire in you, kind of curious to know, what do you do for play?
Oh, man. So lots of things for play. I've got 2 young children, so playing whatever I can with them. Cards, we play crib. So we're a cribbage family. I love to play a good game of crib with those kids. And but really for myself, I'm a big hiker. I'm a nature lover. I love being in nature. I love talking with the trees. If you can't tell them a picture back there, Yeah. So hiking is one of my most favorite things to do. And I find that to be play for me because it allows me to be really present. It allows me to witness things that I normally wouldn't be seeing, right? You know, we go through the world and we're just so
Yes.
busy sometimes we're not slowing down enough to really witness what's around us. So that to me is really fun. And you know what I love to do? I love to sing. I
Oh,
love to sing. Yeah.
excellent. I love that. Which leads me so perfectly aligned, which leads me to next question. Since you love to sing, what is your favorite song to sing?
Oh gosh. Well, Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics has been like a classic for me. But
Hmm.
to be honest, what I love to sing the most is Light Language.
Oh, yes. I love that.
Yes.
Love that. And what is your day, or what is your favorite day of the week and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know, I actually really love Sundays. Um,
Oh,
Sundays for me are like my day of rest. So I was raised Catholic. And so Sundays were the day of rest. And so for me, that's been, you know, a sacred day for me where I try and slow down, where I try and allow myself to rest. Cause like, you know, Aries, it's go, go, go. I'm an
yes.
overachiever. I'm going a million miles a minute most of the time. So to be able to have a Sunday is like, it's like a breath, catching my breath.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. And because you do so much as well, I'm sure that day of rest is really welcome because you're constantly on the go with all the different ventures that you are in. So I love that for you. So, when was the last time you traveled? Where was it? And what did you learn about yourself?
Oh my goodness. So this is such a great question because I had the most incredible trip this year. So my partner Dan and I, we went to Tahiti. We went on a cruise in the South Pacific and we went island hopping. So we got to go to places that many people never get to go to. It was the most magical trip. I got to tell you, here's what was so cool about it. I was just in the process of finishing up one of my books and I got downloads in terms of book number 2. So
Ooh,
I received the information and the insights and the experiences in real time that are going to go into book 2. So one of the examples of one of the most profound experiences, I have a thing with dolphins. Okay. I love dolphins. That's part of my kind of time in Lemuria and Atlantis. I've just got this deep affinity for water life and particular to dolphins. And I've had some really profound experiences with dolphins. I swam with dolphins in New Zealand when I was younger. Wild dolphins, actually, not in a cage or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for me, it was an experience in the wild. I also was on a Sea-Doo when a super pod of dolphins, like hundreds and hundreds of dolphins, came through, and I played with them for hours, speeding up on the Sea-Doo. They would race with me and they'd turn with me, and it was awesome. And so this particular trip, I hadn't seen many dolphins, and I expected to see dolphins everywhere. I mean, I'm in the open ocean like for weeks on end, and I hadn't seen any dolphins. But this one particular boat driver said, I know where dolphins are, I'll take you. And sure enough, we found these dolphins, and I was literally hanging off the front of the boat communicating with the dolphins. The dolphin turned and waved at me. It spoke to me. And you might think that's really, really crazy, but it was such a
not at
beautiful
all.
experience for me. And even Dan said, he's like, the dolphin's talking to you. I'm like, I know. It was unremarkable. So anyway, there's going to be a little part of that in book number 2 that I'm working on. But most certainly, it was a profound and magical experience, deeply connected with nature. And I really came back from that trip wanting to change a lot of the rat race that I had been living in,
Hmm.
you know, really shifted my perspective. And so I've been making adjustments since that trip to really lean into creating more space instead of
Yes,
filling my life with so much stuff. Yeah.
exactly. And so interesting because again, you're similar to the other interviewers. You know, you're like literally spilling in right to my next question, which is what do you do to decompress After, specifically when you do your Akasha record readings, because I know they can be taxing,
Yeah.
depending on the person you're reading for, connecting with. So what do you do to decompress from those?
You know, I love my relationship with divine, with God. And so, you know, I really believe that God does the work for me. So God is speaking for me right now. God is doing the work for me. So I don't actually get exhausted from my readings. In fact, I get supercharged from them because I'm connecting right to source. So it's something that I've learned to do over the years, because when I first started doing readings, I would be exhausted, you know, and then I would be like so wiped out, mentally drained, and I would just crash, you know? And so I've learned to channel source more clearly so that I'm not pulling from my own resources. But
Yes.
the biggest thing that I go to is nature. If I'm angry, if I'm struggling, if I'm overwhelmed, if I'm whatever, nature calls to me, and I'm reminded that I can get whatever I need through that space. So that's a big space where I connect to God as well.
Yes. Yeah. And using the word decompress after your readings, was it specifically because it drains the energy so much? Just basically because of the work that you do, and just the that connection that sometimes we need to decompress and take ourselves out. Yeah, exactly.
There's a because you have to be so focused, right?
Yes.
So it's, for me, it's more the mental, because I have to be so tuned in and to that only. Sometimes I just want to get out of there and just watch a movie, you know what I mean? Or read a book or something that just like, so yes, I get that.
Yeah, and I can totally understand why you would go into nature, because when the work that you do, it is really up in the higher the higher chakras and the higher consciousness. So bringing you back down into earth,
Yes,
leveling it out and grounding you makes so much sense. It makes a lot of sense there. So let's see my next question as I check them off. All right. So as a child, what was your favorite thing to do as a child?
daydream. I love to daydream.
Mm-hmm.
I was such a daydreamer. I still love to daydream. I still do. But as a child, I love to create stories and fantasies. I used to go to a frog pond back behind where we lived. And like I would talk to the frogs and I would play with the frogs, and I would go into the grasses and I would flatten the grasses and make a house in the grass. And you know, like that imagination piece was such a key to my upbringing. But that was one of my favorite things to do.
I think you could probably add animal whisperer to your resume, since you tend to really resonate with the animals, the wildlife for that matter.
Yeah,
So
I do. I mean, it's not a big focus of my work per se, but I absolutely do. I love connecting with nature and the animals, and speaking and allowing messages to come in that are going to help me or help humanity.
yes, yes. And animals I believe animals are really a great gateway to that spirit connection, to help you through that flow of what it is you need to deliver to the person you're reading for.
Yeah.
Especially if they have animals.
Yes. And that happens all the time. You know, what's actually interesting about that? It was actually, so my first experience when I understood that I was also a medium intuitive was I was doing a reading for a friend of mine, and I was just practicing. I was a newbie, like this is like 15, 20 years ago. And I'm doing this reading for this friend of mine, and she used to have a horse back in high school, and that horse had died. And I remember her being so upset about the horse. And I remember judging her because I was like, God, get over your horse. It's just a horse already. And then, but guess what happens? I'm doing a reading for her, and the horse comes through in the reading. And I could feel the love, and I could feel the connection, and I could feel the soul history between this horse and this friend of mine. It blew my mind. And I recognized in that moment how powerful that relationship was for my friend. And I had a whole different perspective. But that was my first experience with a loved one coming through in a session, with a horse, of course.
Yeah. And also, I guess, giving you some confirmation of why your friend was so heartbroken, by this animal passing away, and your mind is like, oh, well, just get over it already. Confirming what that was about for her, and now giving you a little bit more compassion for other people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
What a gift for me in that too, because I was like, I'm not going to judge anyone's grief anymore, you know? So it was a wonderful, wonderful learning for me too. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. The universe does listen and does supply and provide us with answers even when we're not asking for them.
That's correct.
Yes.
You got it.
Next question for you. When do you feel more like yourself?
You know, I feel most like myself when I'm in the Akash. Yeah, I feel most like my truest self because the rest of the world falls away. You know, I spent a lot of my life caught in people pleasing. I'm still working on it, by the way. But I spent a lot of my time wanting to be liked. And so I had very little boundaries. And I, let people take advantage of me and I, all of that. And so I got lost in trying to please other people and putting on whatever mask I needed to please that person. And I no longer do that anymore. And that's been a bit tough because it's made some people fall away, but at the same time, I know that I'm stepping into a deeper, more divine path for myself and that it's okay. We all kind of come into each other's lives for certain periods and certain experiences and learnings. And, sometimes our contracts come up, but I most certainly feel most like myself when I'm in the Akashic space.
Yes, and that expression, people come into your life for season, reason, or lifetime, and the same reason why they leave your life, because they fulfilled or you fulfilled the agreement with each other that you no longer need to be together anymore.
Yeah, you got it.
Something that I used to have a really challenging time with in reference to when people did suddenly just leave or would have a huge argument with me in my mind, like, where did that come from and why? And then they fade away. And it took me a really long time to like, oh, that's because that agreement's over. Okay, I'm okay with that now. And it did. It took a long time. So with that being said, and I'm loving how the questions are just like falling off of each other. What is your love language?
Oh, my love language. I'm all about touch. I love to hug. I love to let people know that I'm connected with them. With my kids, I spend a lot of extra time giving tickles and cuddles. Like it's a thing. So that connection, that in service piece is a really big part of my love language.
I love that. I love that. I love that for you. Now, this question I ask all of my interviewees, and it is, if you had a chance to sit with a celebrity for 30 minutes, who would it be, and what would you talk about?
Well, I think God is kind of a celebrity in my house. I mean, that might sound like a cop-out answer, but to me, I want to sit with Source. And that being said, I feel like I sit with Source every day as well. But if I could do it in a real 3-dimensional, tangible way, do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That would be my go-to. That being said, I did a report on Gandhi when I was in junior high, and it was really powerful what Gandhi stood for. So he's also up there on my list, and so is Mother Teresa, or Teresa now. Yeah.
You can have a tea party with the three of them.
Right? I think so. Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. I love that. So my next question, claim to fame. What's it for you?
Oh, my claim to fame. Well, I think the Akashic Records has become a bit of my claim to fame. I madly fell in love with it. I didn't even know I was an intuitive, but I was really curious about the Akashic Records, and I came from a science background. So I came from being a paramedic and a firefighter and a dental assistant and teaching in those realms. And then I had a second near death that really led me to think, okay, wait a second, there's something more here. And so I really took the course as a skeptic. I was like, there's no way people can do this stuff. you know, right? And little did I know that as I stepped into that my whole world was about to change and the floodgates literally opened up for me. So I'm very passionate about the Akash because I think that it can do so much for so many people. If everybody knew that they had the power to do this on their own, this world would just be so much more compassionate and loving and free. So, I'm very passionate about that. And I hope that my next claim to fame is that the trilogy that I've been working on, this next series of books that I have written, I just finished book 1, which is called The Ark. I hope the claim to fame is that it becomes an award-winning movie and that it reaches the entire globe. So that's the first time I'm speaking that in public, by the way. So I'm speaking.
I'll hold that space for you. That's the place. Yes.
Thank you. That's the vision. So that I hope will be the next series of the claim to fame.
Yes. In fact, I'm going to do something very different than I've done in all the other interviews for all of our the audience who's watching right now. If we all can take just a moment just to close our eyes and just to envision this for Reverend Rose Hope about her book, and that it becomes the next level and makes it a movie, just to see that for her, because we all can be in that energy for her, just expands it. And what a perfect day for this, because it's Thursday, and Thursday is ruled by Jupiter's energy, a day of expansion. So we're just we're going to go into silence just for 30 seconds to allow us all to do this for you.
Oh, thank you.
In this space. Wow, the power of that energy right now. We're all welcome to open our eyes again and know that that Reverend Rose Hope, you spoke it out.
I did.
Universe heard. We all held space for you in that time, and now it's just happening.
Oh, thank you. I receive. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, you mentioned you have 2 children. Are they young children?
They're 14 and 11, so getting a bit older.
Yes. Now, between the 2 of them, the 14th and the 11-year-old, what have you learned from them for you? What was your biggest lesson that you're learning from yourself about them?
Well, I'm certainly still learning a lot about myself, but the biggest one is my capacity for grace. And grace has been such a gift for me, when the kids are fighting with each other and I've got to take a nice deep breath, I actually just say the word grace, and all of a sudden grace is there, and God gives me the grace to say the right thing or to hold the right space for the kids. But I would say that's been the biggest gift that I didn't know was there before. And so it's been a great gift of grace for me. Yeah.
Love that. I love that for you. Now, when you're around people, what is it that you would like everybody around you to receive from you?
I mean, love seems like an obvious answer on that, but what I hope that I do for people is I hope that just by me allowing myself to remember who I am, that it will invoke a remembrance in them. So, that's a big part of this book that's coming out tomorrow, is this remembrance of who we are. And I have been remembering all the layers of who I am. And that's been one of the most incredible journeys for me. So when we remember the truth of who we are, we have more compassion, we have more forgiveness for ourselves and for others as well. So there's a trickle effect of that remembrance, right? So that's a big part of it. Another piece of this is really allowing people to recognize that heaven is here already. We just can't see it through all the muck and the gunk.
Yes.
And so inviting people to also start to witness those pieces that they couldn't maybe see before, and recognize what is available right in front of us. And that's part of the journey that we get to go on here.
Yes. Now, you've mentioned a few seconds ago that your book comes out tomorrow, correct?
It does. Yes.
And what's the name of the book?
It's The Ark. and it's ARC. So it is a little bit of a play of like Noah's Ark in like that it's meant to be a ship in which we save humanity, but it's also the space of the angel realm. So this book is a fantasy fiction, but it's based on my real life experiences, my near deaths, and my time with the angels. And so, it's really a book for the world to help them remember who they are. So thanks for asking about that.
I love that. There's a reason why I'm asking. Did you purposely pick that date for your book release?
No, Spirit just said this is what's happening. And I said, okay. I have
Okay.
no
Well,
idea.
yes. Well, Spirit was right on track with you, because when you take those numbers, specifically 27, and you, before we even break them up, the 2 is the partnerships and relationships that book is going to connect you with. And the 7 is the very contracts and agreement, which is very similar to the work that you do. When you
Wow.
bring those together, it's the 9. It literally is about the higher consciousness, the higher awareness that shows up from your book and the story you're going to share. And the overall energy for the day is 8. So it's about abundance. It's about success. It's about fame. It's about your achievements. It's about recognition. So all of this is coming through for you.
Yay!
As you announce this book out to the world.
Oh, that's so fun. Thank you for enlightening me on that. I
Yes.
think that's amazing. Yeah.
Yes. Now, in regards to the Cosmic Evolution Summit taking place on October 27th, which you are speaking at, and you will be speaking, let me just pull up the time. You will be speaking at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. What would you like the audience to take away from that particular day?
Well, I'm going to dive in a little bit more to the Akash.
Yes.
I'm going to open up the Akash for those who are willing to just receive that space. We're going to be tuning in a bit to that frequency of heaven. So really dialing into that and really understanding the Akashic records, which is your soul's library. It's a beautiful space of consciousness. But we'll speak to that. And I'm just going to let a channeled message come through and let Spirit and God divinely guide us through that, to that beautiful process.
I love that. More the reason why our audience and anyone who's watching today to grab your Zoom ticket. It is a free event. Those who are actually going to be on the Zoom call in the room with us will actually be able to get that hands-on connection as Rose does what Rose will be doing. Of course, everybody will feel the energy because we don't necessarily have to be literally in the same space.
That's right.
The distance healing, distance work, and all that we do. And being in the same space, in the same room is always so much nicer. So if those of you who are watching right now, if you have not yet reserved your spot at this event, please reach out to me. You can email healingwithin76@gmail.com. Keeping it really simple so all of our speakers don't have to get caught up in having to pull people in with all of the affiliate links and whatever not. Just sending them my way just to make it simple. And Reverend Rose Hope, this was a pleasure. It was such a joy to connect with you and get to learn all about you. And I'm sure we'll learn more about you as we move into the summit. And I'm going to send you backstage for now. And then once I end the show, then you and I are going to have a conversation as well. So again, thank you so much. And I'm just going to, while I'm in the intro of it, I'm going to view any of the comments, and if there's anything that anyone has asked that you would need to answer, I'll let you know.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joanne. Thanks, everyone.
You. All right, that was amazing. Again, this is day 4 of the Spotlight interviews, where I just had this amazing conversation. As most of you know, who's been with me the entire time, having a lovely chat with Reverend Rose Hope, learning all about her. This is what this is all about, guys. This is about learning about each of the speakers on a personal level, not so much about their niches and what they do in their everyday life from their 9 to 5 or 9 to 12 or however how many hours they spend in their time. So I'm just going to take a second. So if I look distracted, that's because I am. I'm reading some of your posts to see what's going on here. And see if there's any questions that I need to answer. Doesn't look like it. Just looks like a lot of people just commenting based on the conversation that took place. And I want to thank all of you who took the time out today to be here, considering it's Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning or Thursday night, depending on where you are in the world. I do appreciate and honor you for your time, your energy, for being here, because you could be home cleaning or working or whatever it is you normally do when you're not sitting with me. So our next spotlight interview will be taking place on Saturday. Just got to get the date, the time, and of course the speaker. So bear with me. Got to get all my paperwork together. So the next one is this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be chatting it up with Sandra Pelly. So as always, if you can make it and you can join me, I would love for you to be there to support and get to know all about Sandra Pelly. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day, and bye-bye for now.